It's live. I think it's live. It looks live. It seems live. Okay, let's go post it out. See who shows up. Post, post, post. All right. Okay. Twitch is now showing data. Okay, cool. I'm viewing myself. It shows me viewing myself. Okay. That is not the right terminal. Let's go fix that. That is notes. Let's go fix this. Different terminal. Other terminal? Not that terminal. No. We're just gonna close that one. We open the right one. And when I open another one. Okay. Now we show the right one. Okay. What? So if I log in and the window title changes. Okay, it's still showing the right one. Cool. Showing my notes instead of... Oh, I did it again. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not. Nope, it's just Tmux. There we go. Okay. We're good. All righty. So, for the quick recap of what's going on here. So back here in the browser, so I have this app, right? This is a very rudimentary app. It doesn't look pretty, but we can get to the point where it'll look a little bit more pretty. It's for uploading handwritten notes to third-party services. So things like Trello and To-Do List is going to be the goal. Right now, it just uploads to Todoist or Trello. One of the things we're going to do on this one is get all of the different types of Trello integration working. We're going to try to do some client-side caching in HTMX, and then we're maybe going to start making things look a little better. Maybe we'll start theming buttons and things and trying to get like a nice like card layout here. And it's also dark readered right now, so we need to get this looking a little bit better here. So that's the goal of this evening. So we'll see how that goes. So first order of business is we should probably start doing the caching. So the caching logic is all in this integrations partial Golang file here. This is a route handler essentially in just the standard Golang route handler. So we'll see what happens here. So this is a standard route handler and it renders the partial. What we need to do is when they're setting the values, we need to cache them. So let's go look here. Upload type, where's our, so this is the post integrations dialog. I think that's what we want here. And then there's different values here that get pulled out. I think we want to start from the template perspective. Yeah, so this is list dialog form data. List dialog form data. Yeah. So we have the list of boards. So this whole like caching thing is gonna be interesting, right? Because there's multiple things. Let's call it list dialog form cached data. Let's keep it separate. And then let's make it a sub thing, cache. This should be Trello cache data. And then we're gonna have a pointer to the cache data. So in here, what we should do, so we should have, should we do boards? This should be a, it should be boards. It should be boards, lists, and cards should be the cached item. So boards should be, it's not just the board IDs. It's the whole boards thing. Lists, cards. What's in all these? Can we just serialize these and shove them into a URL? They're just an ID and a name, and I bet the boards are the same. Boards, yeah. Yeah, they're all just the same. Okay. Do we even want this then? Do we even need this second? I don't think we need this second structure. I think we can just delete that. We can just use the boards, lists, and cards that are already here. And we can serialize them. And then if each of those parameters, so there'd be like a boards cache, like a cards cache. We probably want to have, I think maybe we do want to have something here. And then instead of this, change this to a string. And then we need to no. Change to end string. So these are going to be JSON. These are going to be the cached JSON data, so that when we do the post back to the server, every time an option changes in the dialog, we're going to do a post back to the server. The server has to, right now as it stands, let me demonstrate. I can demonstrate this actually. We can show this. So say we're going in to do this list. Say we have a grocery list here of milk, eggs, and bread. So say we're going to we're gonna send this to Trello, right? So right now it's locked up. Right now it just shows as like a gray background while it's locked up and making a request. So we've made a request out to Trello. We go in here and we say grab the list of boards. So we select our board. So we're gonna do shopping and wish lists, right? And then we wait. But you'll also notice when we go in here, so we've got the list of boards and the list of lists. When you pick this, it's actually making two requests. It's making the request for the boards and the lists. That's not necessary. We've already made that request to go get the boards. We don't need to make it again. And I don't want to implement like a complex caching scenario on this. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's going to be good. So what we can do is on the first request, when we get the list of boards, we can set a parameter on the URL header up there. That way, the URL header up there And then that actually will be what we pull from rather than making another call to the Trello API. So we're only making one call at a time to the Trello API. So we don't have to do any complex caching. We don't have to actually do anything as far as like going and making round trips to the servers. We don't have to have like a Redis cache and worry about cache invalidation at that point. It's just once it's loaded on this page, you won't have to load it again until, I mean, if you switch boards, then it will load the list of lists, and then it will also probably, so there's a nuance there. So if we load a new board, we need to detect that. Okay. So this gets a little more complicated. So if we change the board, there's still some complexities here. If we change the board and then we go ahead and change the list, and then we have a list of cards. If we change the board, we need to invalidate not only the lists but we also need to invalidate the cards. So everything from there down needs to be invalidated in order to avoid weird situations where you get cards that in the picker that aren't part of a board that you're currently selecting on. So for the lists and the cards need a board ID and a list ID, and then the boards need a yeah they need, since it's a tiered structure, they need the IDs in there so we can make the checks. So type boards JSON struct. So we need the boards, and that's it, right? That's all we need. Type list cache data, lists board ID. Okay, so these, switch back to your terminal. So I just wrote these. So these are going to be what's used in our URL. So we're going to serialize these, and then we're going to put them straight into the URL. So let's just do some JSON cards. Do some, I don't love this about Golang. I mean, it's not terrible, but I don't like that you can't just like define like a, I don't know what to call it, like a serialization contract to make that happen. And so you don't have to define these, but it's explicit, so that part is nice. That part is nice. Okay. I'm gonna zoom in just a touch here so you guys can see a little bit better. All right, so we've got our 3 types of cache that we're going to be dropping in the URL. So boards cache data, list cache data, and cards cache data. We're going to go back to here. Oh, no, 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 no. We need to go back. We need to go back. We need to actually add this Trello cache data. Wonder if it's easiest for us to just, instead of doing this, maybe it's just easier if we I think this is what we want to do. And then just serialize a single cache. Oh, we should make these pointers too. That will let them be null if they indeed are null. Cards, cache data. And then we get a single Trello cache data. What do you mean undefined? List, oh, I changed the name. Already. Yep, I'm happy with this. JSON. So then we'll go back here. I think we have to instantiate all these as nil to start, and then we just have to do if statements for each of them. So if yep. Yep. Yep, yep, yep. Okay, and then we have to to JSON. No, there's no to JSON method on that. Is there? What? No, there's no to. We have to do JSON.Marshall. Yep. Import, sure. So here's the question: will it escape that URL or that thing properly? Probably not. So there's got to be a way. I feel like I've done this before. I feel like I've done URL escaping in JSON before. URL escape cache data. Okay, cool. Sweet. It's not a string? I thought it would be. Oh, interesting. So it's not a string by default. Okay. Okay. All right. So now we need to take this and then we need to go update our list, dialog form, the template. Jack's post. So this includes all form inputs. So does that mean I have to drop? I should be able to say cache for Trello cache equals, and then what's the name of it? So this would be okay, so then HTMX should append to the end of that. I need to mirror my camera. It should append to the end of that string instead of just overriding the query params. I hope. We'll find out, I guess. Oh, you know what? We need it. That doesn't go there. That doesn't go there. This goes here. This goes into each of these. One back. Remember? One back. I didn't remember. There, on the last one. Nope, not quite the last one. Okay, all those should be good. Now it should cache those every time it goes through. That should work. Okay, let's test this. Let's test this out. Let's go back to the browser here. Reload this. I gotta fix that. Okay, so in here, so actually, I guess it's in the, we gotta go into the network tab in order to see this happening. So now if we go weak map key, this is interesting. Huh. Going to the network tab. So now if I select a board, hey, there's a cache value there. Trello cache, and then there's all the cached board data. So there's no lists and cards. Yet when I click on this, now in this one, there are. Sweet. Okay. So now we need to serialize. We need to serialize that data, and then we need to put it into our we need to inject it instead of, yeah. So we're gonna add that one to Harpoon. Then we're going to add that one to harpoon. So we can swap back and forth. Okay. Okay, cache data, JSON. What now? So we need to check for that URL param, which is Trello cache. So we need to say Trello cache. So we actually need to define our cache data variable up here earlier. We need to put it up here. And then we need to say, if it doesn't equal that, unmarshal it into that type. Yep, that makes that simple. Okay, so now we should get that data back. That's what it was called, right? Trello cache. Trello cache. Okay. All right. So now we have our cache data. Now we need to start making decisions with it. So we can make database calls and stuff. That's fine. So we get, so if this is where things get a little complex, right? So if the boards does not equal nil, then boards can do that. And we don't want to do anything else. So Trello lists if Trello cache data lists, and we need to double check, and the board IDs match, then we need to do that. And then inside here, we need to do that. When do we know we don't have to request any data? This is where things get a little complicated, right? Because we have to know when we're requesting, when to request data. So we only need to request if one of these is not true. So we need to put all this logic in here up into this if statement, essentially. And I think we need to put What do we do if we don't have Trello integrations? If we don't have Trello integrations, then we just... marshal the cache data. And then we put all this blank stuff in here. And then execute the template. How do we want to do this? Because there's a complex tree of logic here in regards to if it's in the cache. If it's in the cache, don't go grab it. But if the data in the cache is different, then do go grab it. Kind of starting to make me wonder if this doesn't belong right here. I think this belongs right here because we still need to make sure. Oh, this is gonna make that call on every call. We don't have to make that call on every call. So if the boards are null, then we have to do this, right? And then we've got to do this. Which is simple enough, right? So now with the lists, so what we can say, if the boards aren't null, and then we assign our boards there, and then we go to our lists. If the boards are null, then we go in and we just continue to do this. Is there any way to flatten this out? Any way to flatten this hierarchy out? Because there's a lot of nested junk in here that I really don't want to be like nested like this. I guess we can code it this way for now. But on every one of these else's, on every single one of these else's other than the first one, then you want to figure out what to do. Actually, okay, we could just check if they're null or the count of the things in the list. So okay, yeah. So all we have to do, so we need to undo that. We don't need to do any of that. This is simpler than I thought. Okay, so we just basically need to say, like, here's all the things and set them if if any of these things are true, right? So now what we have to do, yeah, we can put this one in an else. This one makes sense in an else, right? But the rest of them don't. So what we can do, we can say if lists if Trello lists, if the length len of Trello lists I don't want to get rid of board ID. Len of Trello lists greater or if it equals 0 and board ID does not equal null, then do that. And then we can do the same thing for here. If the length of the Trello cards equals 0 and list ID is not blank, then go grab those. Trello cache data. Trello. Whoa. I didn't mean to hit that button. I don't need that. What are you trying to auto import on me? Package not found? Why is there no package? Yeah, package should be handlers. Should be Trello cache data. No more valid diagnostics. Okay. So now we should be able to log printf. Perfect. Okay. Now we should be good. Let's test this out. So we've compiled, obviously. We're still compiling. So we can switch over to the browser here. We'll reload this. Oh, it remembered. How nice. So we pick that. It's making its call. So it made a call for that. And then we go down here and we say, tell it to, what do we want? Shopping and wish list. Okay. So now ooh, that's much faster. You see that? Hoo, that's awesome. Okay, that's way better. So let's go back to shopping and wish lists. And then let's go grab, no, I don't want, oh yeah, that's a problem. That's what I was worried about. It's the cache is wrong here. Like I've switched. Let's switch back to like reading list and it's still stuck. Something is wrong. Oh, there's actually a JSON error coming back. Oh, that makes sense. There's 500s being rendered here. Okay. Unmarshalling, unexpected end of JSON input. What was being sent here? Okay, we gotta look at this. Whoa, why is that being truncated? What's truncating that? That doesn't seem right. Golang. Golang URL param truncation? Is it HTMX that's doing the truncation? I don't think it would be. Where's it being truncated is our question. Okay. Well, let's start printing stuff out. So we should probably print it out. Let's print it out here. Log print I always do that. Okay, that should be, I should be able to tell from that what's going on. So now we're back in the browser. Wasn't helpful. Okay, so let's go reload this page. This one takes a long time. Come back. Trello here. So it does cache the boards. We'll just say personal. Okay. That was fine. Okay, and then we say we'll select a list here. So this still looks good. Is there a limit? Are we hitting some sort of limit? When I went to library, I wonder if it broke. Whoa. Let's go to the last one. Wonder if the library page broke the thing. I wonder if we need to like set a limit for the cache. Let's go back to library. Let's try to break it again. Okay, so library, we actually did. It did add everything. And then we can select our list here. That's where we get the 500 because we hit a limit with the lists. Okay, this is a very large Trello board, extremely large. And so I guess once we hit over a certain size, Let's you do this the lame way. It seems low. $13.65. So the funny thing is, back over here, you can see it's not doing any truncation. So what we could do is we could say if the length is over 1,000 characters, just null it out. Don't include it. That's probably what we're gonna have to do. And then the user will just take the hit from having to make all those requests. Because at that point we can't fit it into the cache. So yeah, so if the length of URL escape data is greater than 1,000, we'll just put 1,000. We'll say URL yeah, equals blank string. We'll get rid of the cache. That should fix that issue. Sad. Sad. So back in the browser. Let's go try that board out again. So if we go to library. Okay, we're making the request. Okay. C#. It's very slow. Very, very, very slow. Because that board is big. But we actually do get all our values. Okay. So now what we're going to do is let's go select a more reasonable one. It's going to take a second here. And then we're going to, why can't we? Oh, I wonder. I think that was the other personal, the broken one, the one without any lists in it. Yeah, it was. So now when we click this, or we go back to shopping list, grocery list, shopping lists. That should be really quick. What sort of cache data is in here though? That's what I'm wondering. Trello cache is blank. It shouldn't be blank though. But indeed it is from that point on blank. Why? Okay, so we select Trello. Then we say personal. Trello cache stays blank. It's still blank. Why? Is it just always too big. Did I get my... Did I get something in the assertion wrong here? Count characters in Golang. Oh, I wonder if that has something to do with it. It's always over 1,000 bytes, maybe? That might be it. That might make a lot of sense. Okay. This is weird. What is going on here? What the heck? Is this the terminal wigging out? Just noticed that. I don't know if it was doing it before or what. My indentation lines are all screwy too. I don't know what that's all about. Okay. Let's go back to browser. Trello. Let's pick a reasonable one. Why is the cache so big? Log print. So I added this logging method here, cache too large at that amount of bytes. So we'll see what that. Oh, I don't want that scene. Okay, we'll see what that returns here. I'm doing something wrong. Count characters in string in Golang. No. Count runes, not bytes. That's what I need to do. UTF-8.rune count in string. Okay. So I knew something was off. So I should say UTF-8 dot. UTF-8.rune count in string. URL escaped cache data string. There we go. So dot length in Golang doesn't give you the length of the string, it gives you the length in bytes, I guess. We'll just call them runes. That's what they are. Oh. So back here, I changed this to match what Stack Overflow said right here. So go back to the browser. Let's give this another shot. Let's see if this works. It still says, look at this. It still says 1226 runes. Does it need to be 13,000? Or 1,300 rather? Oh, now we hit the limit where things start getting a little funky. But if I go back to school, and then I go back to like shelf or something, it's still showing the cache. Okay. I am terrible at switching scenes tonight. So the cache hasn't come back yet. Not really sure about that one. So the cache is back now. And then it goes away again. That seems low. I almost feel like that's just... Let's crank this up. So I'm setting it. Let's set it to 3,000 and see what happens. I just want to monkey around with this and see what the behavior is. So there's no cache yet, but we have a cache now. According to the terminal, I can see that there's cache. And now we can set it to personal. There's still cache. Oh, that's the wrong personal, so we'll set it to this personal. We've still got cache. To do for today. Okay. We had cache. Oh no, that last one we ran out of cache. So when I go to select this, there's going to be no cache. No cache. But if we go back here, it should, in theory, mean that on the next request, we get our cache back. But we don't. We don't get the cache back on the next request. Oh, actually, we don't get it back on that request, but we get it back on the next one. So when I go to do this, I have the cache data. We haven't hit that situation yet where I don't think that number is the same. I don't think the number that where we hit the 500 error is the same. So now I get to, so now the cache is gone, right? Obviously. But we can get it back if we go back to a more reasonable. So now we get it back. But we still haven't hit the limit. So that means we can probably up this limit even more. So let's hit 5,000. See what the 5,000 range is like. This I don't understand why it like remembers the selection there, even when I tell it not, like, that is not the selected value. The browser remembers. So when I say personal, it doesn't do anything. It still keeps the cache around, but then when I say library, this is, so now, yeah, it's still, it did not do the thing, but it did slow the request down there. Okay. But now I can come back here. And we can get our cash back. Oh. 9,000 runes. That might be. That one was okay. Oh. So what's the magic number? Where does it break? So 5,000 didn't break. Does 10,000 break? Where's our line? Actually, we could just set this to like 100,000, right? And then now we can get the value that comes out of the biggest. We know what the biggest table is, or what the biggest list is. The biggest Trello board is. That's the library one. So if 100,000, I mean, 100,000 is probably too much. So what we can do is we can get an idea of what the library one is like. And then we select our list. Oh, yeah. We need to add that. Oh, that's also something we gotta fix that. Let's just say URL escaped status data. equals UT. Yeah. No, V to U. No. I said V. V to. We should. I've been thinking about it. I should implement Harpoon. I should get Harpoon running. Or not Harpoon, Vim APM. And so I can join the leaderboards. That'd be fun. Okay. Let's go see how many runes that is. Let's see. I'll leave it here so that you can see. I'm going to select one of the other ones. Unexpected end of JSON input. Okay, so let's just, we're going to, one sec. I'm loading. I'm waiting for all this stuff to load. Okay, so this is 12. So cache data length is 1226, but just with just boards. And then we go and we pick library. And then it comes 5586. Okay. And then once we, so 5586, and then once we hit that, so 5586 is too much. So 6,000 is gonna be too much. But didn't we just try 10,000? 10,000 wasn't too much. That doesn't seem quite right, does it? Doesn't seem quite right, does it? So let's see what we get. So I pick that. We'll go back to the browser here. Loading Trello. And we say, let's give us the library. Where's library? Ah, there it is. Okay. So that was 5586 was the cache length that got put into here. So that's the cache length in here. And this one looks good. So then once we go into, say, C#, but here's the thing. This doesn't make any sense. Let's go look at the DOM here. Okay, so it puts all of that in there. So 6,000 does allow the error. So the limit is 5,500. It appears that's the limit. That's not very much. Hmm. Okay. So that one's fine. Then this one's big. So that means that these are going to be slower. Okay. But we don't error out. So that's the important thing. So let's remove some of our... I'm happy with it. It's not perfect, but I'm happy with it. So we have our caching set up. We have a caching setup. So, all right. I think we're probably gonna be ready to we're probably ready to do a reaction video. So let's see what we want to do. I think I like the remote work one. Let's do that one. All right, let's go. We'll close this. We're gonna go to the browser. Oh, I need to write my notes. Have caching implemented. Okay, if we want to improve that caching later, we can. That one's not too bad. Okay, so we're gonna do that. Oh, I forgot to change that setting. So I can use markers. Let's go to account settings real quick. Where is it? Has to do with publishing videos. Where is it? Always publish VODs. Okay. Cool. Okay. So that's set. So hopefully we can set stream markers now. That was a problem before. Okay. All right. This one's going to be fun, I think. So we'll see how this one does. But let's add a stream marker here in chat. What is it? Marker remote work one start. I'll start. It still errors out. Okay. So next time we can probably do that. Oh, wow. There's a bunch of people that joined right off the bat. either that or my viewers counter was broken before. Hey everybody. Um, so I still can't do stream markers. So I'll have to just keep notes. So at 1:15 is when remote work is the video. Okay. So let's get to it. All right. Remote work 1. Don't let anyone gaslight you to believe otherwise. All right. So I previously wrote what is still going to be my final post on remote work, at least the work part. In it, I went through the reasons why competent teams will be distributed bits work. Will be distributed for bits work. Okay. Today and into the future, for Adam's work, we still need human presence for now. This wording is weird. Okay, I don't know what I'm getting myself into. We'll see. Okay. I've nothing really to add to that part of the conversation. Remote work isn't even new. People have been doing it since the 90s. That's true. Whoa, I don't want to share the quote. Okay. But in the time since I wrote the above post, remote work won and became normal for the large part, in part of life. I can't read. Part of life for a large cohort of the population. This will only continue to grow, and so I wanted to comment a bit more on the topic, as some are still strangely in denial. There's quite a bit of denial right now about remote work, and I can see some of the criticism, and I can't. But let's see what happens here. So. Let's start with this chart a friend shared with me on remote work quietly reaching equilibrium, which happened last year. Okay, so they think it's tapped out. This is about where it's at. And this is this is office use capacity. Okay. So this is only the major urban centers. It's not necessarily representative of the rest of the country. I think there's a lot of data. I don't know how you'd get that data, but I think there's a lot more data here, and including the rest rather than just sampling the big cities might give you more information here. So, but we'll take this as fact. We'll assume they're right. It's reached equilibrium at around 65%. No, I want to continue reading. Thanks. There's plenty other data, samples, and trend sources here you can Google, but broadly, it is all pretty steady. Over a quarter of employees in the U.S. are working remote in a durable fashion since 2020, including myself. And probably more interestingly, 68%, almost the right number, would prefer to be fully remote. Okay. So a quarter are working remote and almost 70% would like to work remote. Okay. Note it's higher percentage of people working remote in cities because of the type of work done there. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I live in a fairly rural area, and so working remote is not nearly as common as, say, like working remote in town, in a bigger city. So that makes some sense. Note it's higher percentage of people working remote in cities because of the type of work done there. Yeah. We read that. Endless cubicle farms were never the end state of anything, and this can be repurposed for better use. Shopping, socialization, recreation, residential, and exciting novel concepts we've not even considered yet. One aside here. I would take a cubicle over an open format desk any day. That is just a way better situation to have walls so you can, like, you don't have people like walking by you all the time. It's bad enough when you're in the office and people like poke their head around and you're like deep in flow state and code, and they're like, "Oh, hi, you're here today." It's like, and then you like have to like get out of that and go back into that. Like, it's distracting. It's very distracting. So open format sounds even worse. So I'd rather have a cubicle farm than what like a lot of the startups have. So that's just an aside. But anyway, the future here is something to look forward to. Going to city centers purely to do something alone you can do anywhere makes no logical sense. This was all inevitable and good unless you wanted humans to remain enslaved and great real estate locations to be stuck in the 1950s era industrial economy use. That's a bold statement. Some strong language there. Even the old guard suits at Goldman Sachs believe remote work is here to stay. Via Axios, remote work appears likely to be the most persistent economic legacy of the pandemic, right? Goldman Sachs economists in a recent note. About 20 to 25% of workers in the U.S. work from home at least part of the week, according to the data that Goldman cites. That's below a peak of 47% during the pandemic, but well above the prior average of around 3%. That seems really low. And maybe, I mean, in the software and development industry, I mean, that is really low. Like, there were a lot more remote workers writing software than there were, I mean, than 3%, that's for sure. But I guess in the rest of the world, or in all the other industries, I mean, banking, that probably wasn't the case. The battle is over, said Diana Scott, Human Capital Center leader. There's a title for you. That's a really fancy way to say like that sounds just like HR. Is what that says at the conference board. There's so many other issues CEOs are facing. But I can't get over the Human Capital Center leader. So the head of HR, basically, as far as I can tell by that title. Interesting. Now that remote has been normalized for some time, it was cool to also see some new research on public firms. Distributed work just published December 2023. The full paper is worth reading, but the summary, I mean, I might give that a read at some point. But the summary is what you would expect if you're paying attention and viewing this issue objectively. Emphasis mine. Okay. Using a sample of Standard & Poor S&P 500 firms, we examine determinants and consequences of U.S. firms' return to office mandates. Results of our determinant analyses are consistent with the managers using RTO mandates to reassert control over employees and blame employees as a scapegoat for bad firm performance. Our findings do not support the argument that managers impose mandates because they believe RTO increases firms' values. Rather, our difference in differences testing reports significant decline in employees' job satisfaction mandates, but no significant changes in financial performance or firm values after RTO mandates. That's an important conclusion. And I think in the short term, at least, this is true. The thing that I don't know, as someone who does remote work, the thing I don't know is long term what it'll do. So once you've understood your position, once you've understood your job, you probably don't need to be in office as a developer, at least. As a software developer, there's no reason to be. But if you're just getting started, if you're just out of college, it can be a huge help to be in office just to get to know your team, really. Like, I just, there is something about being in office that helps you get to know people just a little bit better, and then you tend to work better for that. So even if you, I mean, if you are fully remote, you still want to have like some sort of like socialization event that you go to. Like my company usually, they didn't do it this year for reasons, but usually there is a yearly get together where everyone gets together and gets to have that socialization time, team building stuff, um, that all happens there. But for the most part, at least on the development side of things, we're all remote. But if you're a junior, that can be, and you're all by yourself and you don't know what to do. I mean, you can still get on calls with people and stuff, but that doesn't happen nearly as much as like just looking over and say, hey, can you help me out with this? Like, it's a little different. And the feel is a little different too. So I do kind of lean towards juniors should probably, I mean, it's not necessary, especially not for everybody, but it can be helpful to start in office and then transition to the remote later. So I do kind of think that maybe short term this doesn't have effects, but long term it possibly could. So basically, TLDR, you will make your employees hate their lives, make less money, and be less efficient by electing to assert authoritarian control over their movements and do the same work in different arbitrary buildings every day. I mean, yeah. I mean, there is a morale hit that happens to making that mandatory, to making like lots of things mandatory. Like don't it doesn't feel good. It makes, when you tell someone to do something, they usually want to do the opposite. So I mean, that's just kind of a human nature thing, I think. And I'm not being hyperbolic here. I've heard stories from friends in legacy sectors whose teams have started location tracking employees during the day. It's straight out of a dystopian panopticon science fiction novel. Yeah, that sounds like you're wearing like an ankle monitor and you must be at your desk. We know exactly when you left, when you came, exactly where you are at any minute of the day. You better be back from your lunch break. Oh, you left for your lunch break? Okay, you didn't just get food, you left? Interesting. Why? This just gives all sorts of bad. This seems bad. The location tracking stuff that, and they could do it too if they've got software installed on the phones. If you've got like a bring your own device, like they can just track your phone. Like they have permissions to do that. A lot of times they're device administrators, so they have the permission to do that. I can't imagine anyone competent staying at such firms very long. Yeah, there's gonna be backlash from companies like that. That's not sustainable. Absolute top companies like Nvidia, worth well over $1 trillion, are running remote operations for their teams. So there's really no excuse that this is just for smaller shops. Especially, I mean, you think about Nvidia. There's like things like you need physical access to machines, and they're still running remote operations. Like you need GPUs in machines in order to make that work. I did see like cool stuff that I think it was Intel that was doing with displays, and then they had like a whole test harness for their machine so that somebody could be remote and then remote turn that machine off and on and then change things about the hardware while all being remote. And then that was all like in a lab somewhere, in a lab environment. So that seemed cool. That seemed neat. But anyway, my team at Google was distributed many years before this was normalized, and we worked on software at internet scale. So when execs comment here, they're simply putting their lack of modern management skills on display for the world to see. I tweeted jokingly about this over the weekend here. Nvidia, yeah, laughs at Nvidia. Remote workers have absolutely no attachment, no passion, no creativity. Well, Nvidia employees have a lot of passion in what they do, Not always for the better, but they do. So anyway, really the only other dinosaurs howling into the wind about the latest fax machines going extinct due to the internet are CRE bag holders. CRE? Okay. Who are, of course, upset that they, God forbid, have to reinvest or change strategies and continue to clutch pearls, hoping the world would reinvent or revert to a previous state. Yeah, that's not gonna happen quickly. Um, they of course don't believe Earth can change something it's literally defined by. We're a free capitalist society, and so everyone has to go through the ringer of disruption. But ultimately, we can come out the other side better for the vast majority. They'll evolve, but for some reason, this group are extremely sore losers here. Yeah, it is kind of weird. It's kind of a weird mentality. Um, there was this story last year in Minneapolis in which was emblematic of so much I've seen in local markets, in which a CRE owner says, "Hey, company, please put a gun to your employee's head because I want to make more money." Quite the take. What they're saying, where's Target? They're happy to have their names on our sports stadiums, but I feel like they don't have our city's back right now. Co-founder of real estate firm Randolph Street Capital told the Biz Journal. Okay, this is biased. Being a real estate firm, yeah, they're probably like a commercial real estate firm. They're probably not too happy right now, given how many people are remote and how many companies are just closing offices left and right. So the irony of this quote is Randolph Street Realty Capital and Jonathan himself are based in Chicago, not Minneapolis. They aren't even a local part of the community they claim to care about. They literally just care about their holdings, of course. Yeah, that's that. I mean, to be fair, that's their job. So, I mean, I get it. I get it. They also flex aggregate asset value of greater than 600 million on their website. Yada yada yada. Two industry veterans combined with yada 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 marketing verbiage. It's incredible for a number of reasons that they're grown adults who basically sound like children. But anyway, if your income, oops, oof. But anyway, if your income relies on political pressure for people being forced to do something, sounds pretty un-American to me. I mean, yeah. I mean, the market will decide. It will be what the market will bear. This happened across America, and because of such public tantrums, no one feels bad for them. Where do we go from here? This article, the wording. Oh my goodness, I don't. The wording is tripping me up left and right here. Anyway, daily commutes into an office are simply not coming back for competent people. Everyone I talk to who loves their craft would rather simply not work than go back to wasting their lives in traffic. I mean, if you have that option, like that's not a sustainable option. They're gonna have to go back to work at some point. I mean, where is the big question? Are they going to go to a company that allows remote, or are they going to go to a company that doesn't allow remote? So, I mean, that's going to be where the competition is. But anyway, they would rather have time purely for working, which they can do. They can now do. The analogy to best understand this, which I've said before, is like believing in Santa Claus as a child and later discovering Santa isn't real. You can't go back. The spell of the office building being a requisite for modern work was broken. Fair. Yeah, that's fair. The genie is impossible to put it back in the bottle. Everyone will adapt. There is this thing where like once you realize you can work remotely and work effectively and you've shown the results, like it makes going to the office just a slog. Like if you can work remote and you, yeah, like there's no reason to be there, especially when no one else is there anyway. Like it it really makes it hard to justify, especially for like people like me. Like I've got an hour commute to the office. that sucks. Like that's not fun. That's 2 hours out of the day that I could be doing chores around the house or writing more code or streaming online like this, which usually happens at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on YouTube and Twitch. Like and subscribe. Anyway, so all we have left are bad bosses, CRE bag holders who want everyone to be miserable in order to prop up their portfolios, and some percentage of mid managers who simply hate their lives and want their peers to sit in traffic for 2 hours a day. Literally the cause of unhappiness in modernity. The world is pretty dark already, but I can't imagine letting any of these groups claw back an inevitable future the pandemic let us have early. Basically, the only positive outcome for our suffering here, if we didn't keep it, we'd have made it through all of this for nothing. There will, of course, be more nonsense. Layoffs in the name of RTO, using it as an excuse, which we know is a lie, and have research on linked above. I mean, we have one research paper. Never ever take the word of a single research paper. Like even a multitude of research papers can be wrong. Just throwing that out there. But anyway, there will of course be more nonsense. Layoffs. Yeah. We read that. And property owners who have no idea how the knowledge and economy functions, believing they get to dictate how corporate America works. Sane people would continue to point out the absurdity and the hypocrisy. And for investors, employees, or even just customers, remember any company doing RTO is a giant red flag. They don't know what they're doing, are lying to the market, or hate their own employees. It's really just layoffs by another name because they can't simply be honest. That's a stretch. I do get that it sucks to do a return to office, but I think that it's layoffs by another name. I mean, that's a strong statement. In summary, remote work won. Don't let anyone gaslight you to believe otherwise. Okay, overall, I really like the premise here, but I get two examples. I get Nvidia, and I get one article, one research journal, and that's really the meat of this. I really would like to see, like, in this article. I mean, of course I could read the paper, but I would have liked to see a little more meat as far as like statistics on like output, before and after, what the individuals before and after, like all that data. I would like to see more of that, and that's probably hard to get. It's probably hard to share, especially at like a big publicly traded company or something. But it would have been good to know. But overall, I liked it. I couldn't read half the article because I can't speak apparently. But anyway, it was pretty good. It was pretty good. So, all right. I think that's about my thoughts on the subject. So, like I said, like, subscribe, comment, and have a good day. All right. We are hour 39 into this. RW and all right. It's 8:58. I got work tomorrow. I'm probably gonna sign off here soon. I see there's at least 2 viewers out there, whoever you are. Thank you for sticking around for the stream. Let's go. Who we gonna raid here? Who we gonna raid? Lots of those people are. No. Should we raid? Should we raid her? Sure. Why not? Da 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 da. We're gonna do that, and then we're going to organize the raid, and we're gonna start the raid.
Sky, thanks for the follow. How are you? I was just thinking that about normal glasses. No, Sky, thanks for the raid. Thank you. Hello. Hi, everyone. How was your stream? What were you guys doing? Ooh, nice. What are you making?